Hi everyone, welcome to another post-debate interview here with the chair members of the LACS committee. I'm here joined by Helena and Brendan, who just got back from their debate for the Legal Services Committee. How's it going? How are you feeling?
Pretty good, heart's still pumping, it's a bit of an adrenaline rush and everything, but it's still pretty good.
Yeah, I'm still
Absolutely.
shaking. Yeah.
That's good. Yeah, like you put so much work into these bills, and then for it all just to sort of happen in like such a short span of time, it must be pretty thrilling. So, yeah, great
Yeah,
work to
definitely.
both of you and to your entire committee. It's really great to see. I was listening along the entire time, and it was a really interesting debate. So, congratulations. Um, Fantastic. All right, so I might start by just asking about yourselves first. So what is your name, your position at QYP, and tell us a bit about your committee and your role in this bill writing process. I'll start with you, Helena.
So I'm Helena. I'm the Shadow Committee Chair for the Legal Affairs and Community Safety Committee. And so my role in this was really just putting together these amendments, really supporting everyone through this different process of how we are doing it, making sure that everyone knew what they do and that everyone's voices were heard in these amendments and that they got to be shown today in this culmination day sort thing. So yeah, that's me.
And how about you, Brendan?
Yeah, I'm Brandon Harvey. I'm the committee chair for Legal Affairs and Community Safety. My roles with as that have been, so we had the ability to actually create the bill from scratch. So I guess my role would be to, I guess, make sure that everyone is, doing their part and everyone's, completing all those, the bills on time and, going around and kind of seeing with everyone how they're actually coming along with that bill. So and as well as that, looking to my section of the bill as well. So that's what we were doing.
Fantastic. Yeah, no, great work to both of you. It can be quite difficult leading the charge for half of your committee, making sure the bill's prepared. So great work to the both of you. I think a good place to start will be to ask, obviously, not everyone watching this video will be familiar with your bill. So if I could maybe ask both of you in a very summarized way to sort of explain what this bill's about and what it's trying to address.
Yeah, sure. So our bill is trying to address the really incredibly high recidivism rates that we have in Queensland. So we kind of came up with the idea of implementing a prison system similar to Norway, where it's very lax, very focused on rehabilitation. And that's been seen to have results over in Norway. So we think that it would work really well over in Australia, Queensland.
Fantastic. Anything to add, Helena?
Well, yeah, with our amendments, we kind of just came in and we definitely understood and loved the bill idea. However, we added more structure to it and tried to make it into a more not necessarily laid back form of rehabilitation, but focusing on routine forming and that sort of thing for when they are released back into the real world. So, yeah.
Fantastic. To sort of add on to that, did you find it hard preparing amendments for this bill, or did you have to search, quite deep to find, flaws in the bill presented, or how was the process?
Well, for anyone who does get to watch it, they will know that I started my speech by saying how flawed I thought this bill was. But honestly, it was really well written, and there were just some things where I was like, yeah, I can get in there, I can deconstruct this and absolutely nitpick. And that's really what it came down to, was nitpicking. But overall, it was actually quite well written. Don't let the others hear me say that. And it was hard to write and disagree with a lot of the stuff that was written because the merits were definitely there.
That's great to hear. No, obviously, in the spirit of debate, it can, you sort of say what you need to do to win the debate, but obviously, like, it is nitpicking. Obviously, the bill presented is great, and yeah, it's about sort of amending it. No, that's fantastic to hear. I think the first point I wanted to make after that, I want to talk about how you think this relates to youth issues specifically. So why did you think it was important that this was addressed at Youth Parliament and not, say, at the official Queensland Parliament. Do you think this is an issue that pertains to young people specifically, or?
I think I think young people definitely have like a very strong opinion on these type of issues. I find that a lot of older people tend to have like a very set in stone opinion when it comes to prison rehabilitation, and they tend to, rather than like look at it as a whole, they're very punished focused. And so I guess if it came from youth parliament, it would kind of show that this is what the youth, the future wants, and because it's going to obviously be implemented in the future, like pretty far ahead. So by saying this is what we want now, by the time we get to adulthood or even later, it'll be something that's comes to fruition.
Yeah, and definitely I think because even though it isn't like an issue that directly relates to us, we have family, we have friends who have gone through the justice system and seeing how that plays out. And these people shape us, and we see how the judicial system shapes them. And so we see the effects that prison systems currently have on them. And so it is really an emotional thing to want to try and make it better for them and to try and help them.
Absolutely, yeah. I think it's, like you mentioned, this is sort of a different attitude to rehabilitation, and often that can be hard to convey. So often the onus is on young people to sort of bring about this change. My next question is about the main point of contention between your two subcommittees. What would you say is the biggest point of contention that you had today?
Definitely restricting the prison to female identifying inmates.
Yeah, definitely.
Sorry, I didn't quite catch that. You may have said something. To lead on to that, from what I've heard today, that seemed like it was quite a contentious point. And again, your bill is so detailed, it can be sort of hard just reading it to sort of understand what that main point of contention is. But did you want to go into more detail about what the debate was about with that specific point?
Yeah, I guess the point of contention, I guess, was from the sponsoring point of view, was we looked at how crime, or the prison population, is 90% male, and we thought it could be a detriment to like the facility as a whole if we only focus on a very small minority of actual offenders. So that's where our point of view was coming from, in the sense of the grand scheme of things.
Interesting. Cool. All right. So my final question for today is about how you found the parliamentary process. I know, Brendan, that this is your second year in the program. So have you learned anything about the parliamentary process while being involved in this bill writing process? Has this taught you much about how Parliament works here in Queensland, and what have you learned throughout this process?
Yeah, well, I've learned quite a lot from this process, in the sense that, like, when at home, whenever you're like debating someone, it's very chaotic. It's very, you're shouting at one another. But in Queensland Parliament, it's very structured, very formal, and very respectful in that regard as well. You learn to respect the other side and their opinions, and you let them speak, which I believe is one of the biggest values of our democracy, is just have people to have that voice.
Absolutely, yeah. That's really great to hear. And how about you, Helena?
I think getting on that point, you can't just like detract from people's opinions, and you can't just be like, oh, that's stupid. You have to give valid reasons why. And I think that's really thought provoking, and I think that's really important, and that people just can't downplay stuff. And having that where you have to think about it, you have to respond in an articulate way, it makes you think, and it makes you question yourself as well. Like, if I can't explain this, is it really that valid? So I think that's really important, and it's actually really insightful as well.
Absolutely. No, that's great to hear. I think that was my biggest takeaway from participating in this program as well, is that, it can often feel like, debates on really important issues like this, it seems like there's no sort of democratic, sort of sensible way of, sort of discussing these issues. But here at Parliament, there's a very sort of regimented approach to the way debates are conducted, and it means that we can get some very productive conversations going. So I'm glad that you both sort of found that today. Fantastic. All right. Well, I might finish up there, but yeah, I just wanted to thank the both of you for conducting this interview, and I hope you've enjoyed the process, even in these interesting times, virtually. And yeah, I hope you enjoy the rest of your week at QYP, and thanks again. Congratulations on your great work.
Thank
Thank you very much.
No worries. Enjoy the rest of your day.
Yeah.
You too.